prosecution outlined how accounting practices of comedy functions did not.
What kind of likeness is that?
If they were great artists, they'll be in a museum.
Evidence today may signal at least one.
You fucking fodder for cartoonists now?
Welcome back to Gutter Boys, episode 59, 10 away from the magic number of 69. I'm your host, Cam, along with JB. This is the first time we're recording since we've been back from the cabin, actually, I think, right?
Yeah, it is.
Hell yeah. Miss my friends. It seems, knock on wood, it seems like we have escaped COVID-free.
Yeah.
Everybody from the trip. So, to everybody that said it was irresponsible, you're right, but we made it, baby.
Were people really saying that?
Probably not, but I guarantee you there was like a contingent of people that were like, a retreat in this climate? I'm sure,
And then reposting all the Met Gala shit.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes. Which, by the way, I thought Kim Kardashian looked sick as fuck.
I did not see anything other, unless it was funny. I didn't see it.
Yeah, everybody was like, she was literally just like wearing like all black, like, and even covering her face. So she looked like Noob Sabat from.
I did see her. I didn't know that was okay.
Yeah, she looked like Noob Sabat with a flowing gown.
Is that supposed to be like cross promotion for Kanye's album or what?
I don't know, man. Who knows? I just thought she looked like the all black dude from Mortal Kombat that was just like a shadow. So I thought that was pretty sick. Besides that, I didn't really, I can't really recall any of the outfits. It'd be funny as fuck if there was. That's not
true because you posted on the Gutter Boys page one of the outfits.
Did I?
Yeah, the Steely Dan joke.
Oh yeah. Oh right. The peg thing, the bulletproof vest that said peg. Okay. Yeah, which was Cara Delevingne or whatever.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I only knew because I saw the caption, and I know the name, but I have no idea, what she's done. So, yeah. There was a post today that somebody sent us that somebody, had just, screenshot their notes app, and it said, funny thought. Cartoonist kayfabe is like the Joe Rogan experience, and the Gutter Boys are like Cumtown, and it's like...
Oh, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, I guess that's a funny thought. We've been saying it forever, so...
Yeah.
So, to news, let's see. First off and foremost, capitalism, baby. Gutter Boys Shirt 3 is out. A collaboration with artist Brian McCrae. We call him Bam McCrae on here sometimes. You can actually find him on Instagram at Bam McCrae. And it's an Alfred E. Newman rip. And it says, what? Me problematic underneath it. Pocket print that says Gutter Boys on the front. Yeah.
Pocket pussy.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to go ahead and order that, I forgot our big cartel. Let me look that up real quick.
Gutter Boys.
It's either Gutter Boys Podcast or Pod.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I don't know, guys. Just Google it.
Yeah.
Or something. Or we'll link it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's gutterboyspodcast.bigcartel.com. Today is the first day they are on sale. We'll leave the pre-orders up for 10 to 14 days. I haven't decided yet. Probably 10, maybe 14. We'll see. But yeah, it's a double-sided print, black and white colorways available. You can see the design on our Instagram at gutterboyspodcast, or just go straight to gutterboyspodcast.bigcartel.com. We appreciate the support, folks. Everybody that's bought shirts from us so far. And we love Brian's work, so it's a win-win situation. We're looking forward to providing more merch for you all, and this is just the next installment of that.
Yeah, we already have 2 shirts after this lined up, too.
Yeah, I think, for sure. I know that Caroline Cash's shirt is eventually going to make its way out, and what's the other one?
I forgot. I just know that we have
we got a couple people that we've talked to about shirts.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So newsworthy things. Archie Comics acknowledged the fact that we all know here at Gutter Boys headquarters that dudes rock. This really isn't news. They just posted a 4-panel strip that's actually just like so stupid it's funny. It's like a bunch of girls at the skate park and they're like, where are all the boys? And it's your typical 4-panel setup. First 3 panels were the girls like skating and realizing how sick it is that there's no boys around. And the 4th panel shows the boys, and it's Archie and Reggie having a contest on who can shove the most rocks in their pants. So dudes do rock in Riverdale, baby.
I feel like the writer of that definitely has collected or seen a bunch of those boys chat versus girls chat memes.
Oh, I'm sure. I quote tweeted the tweet where it said dudes rock, and I was like, give these motherfuckers an Eisner. And of course, the guy, I don't know if he vanity searched or what, replied saying, I've been saying this all along. Well, buddy, let me tell you right now that I wasn't serious with my words here, but I do like that dudes rock exists in Riverdale. I don't think that you deserve an Eisner for that alone, though. Oh, fuck it. You know what? Yeah, maybe you should. I don't know. It looks like a webcomic, man. I don't know.
Is that going to be printed or is it just digital?
Probably digital only. It's called like Little Archie or like Bite Size Archie or something.
Yeah.
Probably something stupid like BYTE sized Archie.
Okay. In other very important news, some person named Alexa DeCampi on Twitter,
Alex.
It's Alex? I thought it was Alexa. Okay.
Alex DeCampi, yeah.
Alex DeCampi. I don't know what they do in comics. What are they, like a writer?
Yeah, they're a writer. They've written a
who
bunch
cares?
of stuff
Anyway,
over
so
at Image.
they posted something. What was it again? It was like, why do guys love Swamp Thing so much? Don't at me or something like that.
Let me pull up the tweet
because so stupid.
Yeah, it was stupid as fuck. It was pretty much like them like being like, men be shopping, and then it blew up in their face. All right, so here's the tweet. Alex DeCampi. Oh, it's been deleted, but because I quote tweeted it, of course, I can still see it. What is it with dudes and Swamp Thing? Why do you love the character so? Is it because most Swamp Thing writers put in lots of literary refs that make you feel smart when you catch them? Educate me, but don't say, oh, you have to read blank because I probably have and or don't care. So it's like, hey, educate me, but don't tell me anything.
The best discourse.
Yeah, which is fine if you have like, a Twitter following where that's going to maybe get 5 likes, but Alex DeCampi is, 20,000 followers, a quote unquote important figure in comics, she's
just to reiterate, never heard of this person
pretty
until
up
now.
There. Well, I've heard of her, and, she's done good work. She did a cool book with previous guest of the show, Katie Skelly. That's mainly where I first heard of her, but I know she's done a lot of weird, like, grindhouse books and stuff that she writes for other people. To be honest, I haven't checked out too much outside of that Skelly story, though, so...
Well, yeah, so...
I tweeted out, Alex DeCamp be serious.
Nice. So a bunch of people were basically like, you're the dumbest person on this website today.
And giving thoughtful answers. They were giving thoughtful answers at first, and then Alex DeCampi was like, I muted the thread after an hour, and so I didn't even read any of these answers that I was asking for. So, and then decided to kind of try to be cute about it the next day, and like posted a tweet of like a burning room, and was like, when you post a hot take on Twitter and log off for the day, first off, nobody ever logs off for the day nowadays. It's 2021. Yeah. So the cute attempt at brand management there, kind of fell on deaf ears.
It wasn't a hot take either. It was a question. It was a snarky question. That's not a hot take.
Yeah. I mean, we do that shit all the time, so we know. It's just that ours are funny.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was clearly just baiting people, It
was like, I hate men and this is why, but it's like it wasn't formulated enough and it just made her seem ignorant.
Should have done the work. Hate to see it. Yeah, she immediately regretted it. Comic Twitter basically just like went right after.
Which honestly, I won't lie. I was kind of shocked. There was a lot of those like blue check losers that were like against her, and I was like, wow, I figured you all would be like retweeting this and being like, go off, queen.
Yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah, but really they were like, this is fucking stupid. So I was like, hey, we agree on something for once.
Swamp Thing is toxic masculinity, and it's about time someone addressed it.
Yeah. Dave Scheidt was pretty much like replying the same thing to people dunking on it, though, being like, so funny, exclamation point.
Very joke.
It's like, Dave, just dunk, man. It'll make you feel good. Let that hatred flow through your veins.
Yes.
I don't have anything personally, against Dave. I just, think that their takes are very pedestrian and they just want to dunk, they just choose not to. They choose to take the high road. But I'm telling you, Dave, come to the dark side, baby.
Yeah, I've known Dave for a while now, from living in Chicago.
Oh, is he a Chicago dude?
Yeah, nice dude.
Okay. Yeah, nothing against him. It's all jokes here, folks. I know you don't know that sometimes, but it's all jokes. Yeah, I guess we should talk about our Patreon before we get into shout-outs. We did a few Hocking HIlls episodes. Patreon.com/gutterboys. $5 a month gets you 2 bonus episodes a month at least. $10 a month gets you a zine plus those bonus episodes. And there's other tiers on there. Check it out, gutterboys.top or patreon.com/gutterboys. A lot of positive feedback on that last episode. We hope you all enjoyed it. Seemed like you all did. And feel free to donate to the cause.
Oh, yeah. And we finally topped out over 800.
Yeah. We finally made $800. Next is $1,000. We want 1,000,
yes,
folks. Pay our rent, and we'd be very grateful. I just had to get a part-time job, so I'm back to the dick sucking factory.
Yes. Gotta punch in.
Yep, gotta clock in. It's at a bookstore though, so it's not the worst thing in the world. So I'm actually pretty excited about it. But it would be super sick to just podcast, so that way, women would hate us more because.
No, what's that guy's name? That loser that was really mad when they found out how much money we made a month.
Oh, I don't know who it was. Carrot something.
Carrot Top. Yeah, he got real mad.
Carrot Top was like, look how much they're making per month. And it's like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Is that a self dunk? I don't understand what that's supposed to mean.
But we are appreciative of every, patron that we have. The common thing that was, I guess the common theme that I heard at the Columbus Blockfort event and at the cabin was, man, we expected you all to be edgelords, but you all are so nice. And it's like, well, no shit. It's a
just
fucking
one person.
No. So Caroline Cash. No. Listen, Caroline said that it was talk at the cabin behind our back that we were very pleasant and it was not expected.
How dare you talk behind our back positively? Disgusting behavior.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, of course we're nice. This is fucking, it's a pot. Don't take shit too seriously, man. What do you expect us to be fucking dicks? Maybe. I don't know. We are dicks, but
yes.
Oh, hey, here's some comics news. So apparently Simu Liu, the guy who is Shang-Chi, apparently there's an Asian men's right group, and apparently he's like one of the dudes.
Hell yes.
Behind it. But here's the thing.
Yes.
The guy that leaked this information was like, I gotta find the shit. Hang on.
Oh, that's amazing.
We're kind of backtracking here with shout outs, so I'm sorry. I know Max tweeted about it and quote tweeted the
Shang-Chi, I hate women.
Yeah. So here's what happened. A gentleman named Edward Hong, who has 3,600 followers. His Twitter name is @Cinnabon Monster. This is going to sound so fake, but what else can you expect from the reporting
Cinnabon
from
Monster? Wow.
So they quote tweeted a tweet from a verified blue check account, Reappropriate, that said, please take the time to read this incredibly in-depth and thorough investigative essay by Aaron T. Mack on the MR Asian subculture on Reddit. I sincerely appreciate the attention Aaron took to the story. And MRA stands for Men's Rights Asians. And essentially, it's just a group of Asian men, not us, that are, just being misogynistic online. And this guy, Edward Hong, quote tweeted it with, this is an astoundingly in-depth article about the toxic men's right Asian movement. So if you have the time, read it. And probably for a very good reason. It admits the biggest celebrity ringleader of it all. Yes, I've talked about him many, many times here before. And then they decided to reply to this tweet with, fuck it. The person in question is Simu Liu. For those asking for receipts, you won't find any. All Reddit board and Twitter conversations have been scrubbed clean with specific MRA involvement. You can only go by the experiences of the API women who have been affected by Simu and more precisely his followers. So, there's no evidence, but hey, when do we ever let the truth get in the way of a good story here? But since this has all come out, there have actually been screenshots of shit that he's posted in the past. Looks like posts from 2015, talking about this. So it's really cool that Shang-Chi hates women. I can read the post of his if you want. I don't know if you want to do that on the show.
He probably spent 2 minutes in a trailer with Aquafina and was like, you know what? Let me rethink that.
Yeah. Do you want me to read the post? There's 2 posts.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So one of the posts was dated from July of 2015, and it looks like it was posted in Reddit World News. Hi, I'm a Canadian actor and thought I'd chime in. I recently did a show in which I played a pedophile and did a significant amount of research, clinical studies, mind you, not the method stuff on the disorder. And I like that he had to clarify and how it's perceived in the media. In the end, the role completely changed the way I look at pedophilia and has made me much more sympathetic to anyone who is born with those urges. Fuck! Yes. From a biological standpoint, it's no different than being gay. A small mutation in the genome that defines our sexual preferences. Depending on what area of the world you were born and what time, it also may have been a perfectly acceptable thing to act on those urges. Now, we all know that taking advantage of minors is wrong, disgusting, and vile even. But with the exception of Germany, we are completely about it. Hang on, sorry. But with the exception of Germany, we are going about it completely the wrong way. It's like we have learned anything by studying homosexuality. We're talking about exploring the same quote-unquote cures to pedophilia as we were about homosexuality 20 years ago, a la conversion therapy and whatnot. As a part of my research, I discovered that these people have literally nowhere to run, even non-offending pedophiles. They cannot seek treatment in most parts of the world because the therapist or psychiatrist will be legally required to report any, and then the post ends. But there's another post. Do you want me to send it to you so you can read it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to send it to you on Twitter. Hang on.
God damn. I'm just... Somewhere Mickey Mouse is rubbing his hands.
Yeah. Oh shit, there's more screenshots in the replies.
Oh,
fuck.
Hell yes. Okay. Okay. Hey, done a fair amount of research for a role that I did. I'm an actor. No, not Kevin Bacon. Ha ha ha. And I wanted to provide any assistance if I can. What we currently know about the disorder is this. Like homosexuality, it exists on a spectrum. For example, we all know that the whole barely legal subgenre of adult entertainment is huge. Anybody who jerks off to pictures of an 18-year-old and turns around and says all pedophiles ought to be killed is fucking a hypocrite, in my opinion. But I digress. From what you've typed here, it seems that you have a mild preference and you are able to be satisfied with adults. Some people with the disorder find themselves only attracted to children, and that could be potentially problematic, especially in a society where there's absolutely no way to get help.
Potentially problematic.
I love it.
Potentially.
Please continue to talk right using throwaways, and please avoid child pornography. It may seem innocent, but even watching it is propagating the entire industry, which I'm sure you agree is disgusting. It may seem innocent? My man literally just said, watching child pornography. It's a victimless crime. No.
This is after he said that he didn't do this as method acting. God. This dude, for sure, if they took this dude's computer, man.
Bro, I'm pretty sure this is all a bit because he wants to be the first Asian Joker. Plus, the consequences you face if you caught are life-changing. Worse than death, if you ask me. You have a good head on your shoulders. I wish you the best, and I know you will not make any decisions you will regret. Too long, didn't read. Actor played a pedophile for a TV show. Did research. Discovered being a pedophile not so different from being gay. Everyone deserves sympathy, not black and white. Edit. So my first gold was a sympathetic post towards pedophiles. Amazing. Thank you for the gold. Honestly, if it goes to show that Reddit is capable of tremendous compassion. Yeah, that's the takeaway here. Yeah. To everyone who came forward in the thread, I admire your courage and wish you the best.
My man's rooting for pedophiles.
Oh my God. I'm in no position to provide any guidance or advice of any sort, but I encourage you to read this article I stumbled upon while doing research for my role. To people downvoting, I encourage you to participate in the discussion instead of simply clicking a button. I hope you remember downvotes should only be given for comments that don't contribute to the discussion, and you shouldn't use it as a means to voice your disagreement. All right, now I'm going to look at these other screen grabs because there's some good ones here.
Yeah, as we're reporting this, I just typed in Simu Liu. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but pedophile to see like what role it was, and these stories are from like 13 minutes ago, an hour ago. So this is breaking news. When you hear this, it's going to be a couple days old, but this is breaking news, fellas and non-binaries and ladies listening to the show. Let's see. There's more in the comments, bro. It says further screenshot, by the way. It looks like some replies. Here's what proves it's him. It looks like in 2019, the same account, user Nipped in the Bud, posted in a Reddit for Kim's Convenience, a show that Simu was on.
Yeah, it's him. Here's another one. And depending on where you live in the world, sexual relations with children isn't even illegal. It's weird how we've latched onto this narrative of morality and right versus wrong when we've only recently decided that it was wrong to begin with. Just 2 cents. I'm all about the gender equality. However, girls are just not as good as boys at sports. Whenever I play volleyball with a girl on the team, I always get frustrated. Sometimes I say things. Back me up here, fellas. It's just different.
It's just different. Oh, shit.
Yes. Oh, man. God damn it. Men's rights and pedophile advocate, Shimu
Yeah, so Berlatsky and Shimu Liu have come out as pedophile advocates. It fucking rocks.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck. So let's see. It looks like
Shang-Chi in the 10 pedophile rings. Jeffrey Epstein confirmed, now part of the MCU. Oh man, that's wild.
Yeah,
I can't. What's the damage control going to be like for this?
Oh, okay, so hang on. Here's something else. It looks like here's somebody, a verified check account. Roslyn Toulousan said Lou got an Asian American podcaster harassed off of here over a vague tweet about his abs. His politic is rooted in assimilating into white power. He has a shitty reputation in Toronto for the way he dates and works. So one of the accounts that was stalking Huang in the Slate piece, I think, tagged Lou on one of my tweets critiquing misogyny in Asian American spaces. Lou DM'd me that same night to reassure me he was not a misogynist. And she posted the actual screenshot of his explanation that is much too long and saying that he didn't do this, but you know, it is what it is. It looks like there's a lot of receipts going back, 5 years plus. So
it's very funny.
Yeah, fucking hilarious. Okay, so now that we've turns out there was a lot of comics news. So now that we've derailed the show, let's get into shout outs so we can get into our interview with Sean Knickerbocker. We did meet a lot of you at the Blockfort event, which was awesome because you all were very nice and pleasant. We even got a gift. I posted about it on the Instagram. Drew Hall in Columbus brought me the Batman Forever mug that I mentioned on the Nate Garcia episode, literally hours after it went up.
Yeah,
so
it was that same morning.
It was that same morning. Yeah, so that was incredible.
Wild.
Yeah. So thank you, Drew. Also, Drew gave us copies of his cult pamphlet, How to Transcend. I don't know if he has those available online, but you can check him out on Instagram at Drew B. Hall.
Yeah, just DM him. I'm sure he might have copies.
Yeah.
Any listeners also, by the way, I was thinking the other day, it's like, man, you know what I miss having?
What's that?
$10 million.
Yeah.
Man, when I was a kid, one of my favorite things was $10 million in unmarked bills.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
or on patreon.com/gutterboys.
What else?
Oh, I still need Riddler, Two-Face, and Robin. So
the whole collection. Oh, actually, you know what? You know what I really miss is those McDonald's Jurassic Park cups.
Yeah, there you go. We're gonna get like the fucking McDonald's cups from the listeners. So I still need the Batman Forever set. I got Batman only. So if you all want to come through and hooks up with the other three, and then JB wants the Jurassic Park cups. So
yeah, the problem with those cups is that they're like way flimsy.
They were like the plastic, if I'm not with like just like they were the white plastic with
they
designs.
They definitely went the cheap route with those. I'm a little bummed out still to this day about that, but they still look sick. Like the art is fucking killer on those things.
The only other glass mugs that I recall them doing was they did Flintstones for Flintstone movie.
Yes, I had those as a kid. I remember those. Yes.
Those were sick too. So hey, I want those as well. So
yeah, Blockfort was really fun. We got to meet a lot of people, obviously. Oh, we got to meet listener Brian Canini. Yeah, awesome guy. Really sweet. He gave us a couple of his
shout
books.
Out Brian, man.
2 stories. He had 2 issues of those, 2 stories and 2 stories more. Very fun. They actually remind me of your work, Cam. The covers, I mean.
Yeah. I really like Brian's approach to comics. They are very much so slice of life. And I will say this. I've been ordering comics from Brian I've sent in 2 orders to him because he sells them pretty cheap and he posts in our Discord. He actually gave me a copy of his comic Across the Diner. And I thought that I might have had it, but I wasn't completely sure. And I guess he went home and checked what I'd ordered from him because when I did come home, I realized that I did have that comic already. Such a swell guy. Brian sent more comics over. It was like, oh, I saw you ordered this from me and the trade wasn't fair. So here you go.
Oh, nice.
And he sent me over his Plastic People issues 1 through 4. So shout out Brian for that.
Very cool. Very cool.
He also gave us some of his newsprint anthology that he puts out and edits in Columbus called The Columbus Scribbler, which I found out through reading Brian's autobio work was actually Eisner nominated. So shout out to the work they're doing over there. It's a really cool anthology, free newspaper rag, The Columbus Scribbler. You can find Brian online on Instagram at Brian Canini, and that's BrianCanini. And you can buy his comics at drunkencatcomics.storenvy.com.
We also had another fan, Ethan Pope, come by our table, and very, very sweet guy as well. He handed us his mini comic, Going Home, which I believe you could probably still get from him. Really talented. I mean, his work is solid, and he's a young dude too, right? He's like still in school.
Yeah, he's like 18. He's one of Emmy Guinness's students.
Ah, okay.
Which is why he was at the show. She recommended he come down. He was a previous listener of the show, and it was really cool to meet him. It's a very small little comic, one of those things they teach you how to make when you take like the zine courses at Zine Fest. Yeah. One of the one-page things that you could fold into 8 pages. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a really nicely done digital comic about anxiety at a party. Really cool stuff, Ethan.
Yeah, very nice. You can find him on Instagram at epope_inc. And I look forward to seeing what he comes up with in the coming years.
Yep. Just hopefully you stay with it.
And then we also got a couple of things from fellow tablers at the show, and also some of them were at the retreat. Sam Zabo, who handed over their newest issue of Comics Will Break Your Balls.
Yeah, number 2 or 3.
Yes.
2.
Number 2, yeah. Yes. Very, very funny. Sam's a hilarious cartoonist, and it was really cool getting to hang out with them.
Yeah, for sure.
We got a new issue of Audra Stang here. Or sorry, the Audra Show by Audra Stang, rather. And then the King of Dudes, Nate McDonough.
Yeah.
He handed me a stack of stuff here. A thick book called Blue Lives. A bunch of his single issues of Grixley.
Yeah. Nate gave me an extra copy of Blue Lives because that was the only thing that he had on his table that I didn't have. And he ended up giving me 2 copies. So when Nate's episode comes out, we will be doing a giveaway for a copy of Blue Lives.
Very cool. Also, Brian Baines, former guest, and also tabler at Blockfort. Before the show, he handed me over his new mini-zine, Oh Me.
Which is awesome. Yes. Brian is behind Bubbles, by the way, if you don't know his government name. Yeah.
And let's see here. Oh,
hang on real quick. Oh Me is available. You can subscribe. It's similar to Hype Pup. It's an 11x17 double-sided zine folded, and it's $9 for a yearly subscription, or you can find Brian at a show. Find him at Bubbles_zine, DM him to get Oh Me, and you could see he's got a couple shows coming up in Philly and other places, so you could probably get one from him there.
Nice.
It was great hanging out, by the way, Brian. That was super fucking cool.
Yeah, I kind of wish we hung out more.
We hung out the last night we were in Columbus at our awesome Airbnb.
I didn't want to get in between him and Dylan and their little love fest, so...
Yeah, a little hardcore bullshit bro stuff. No, I'm just kidding. We all go off.
Let's see. Oh, yes. Friend of the show, Mark
Koprinarov.
Yes, he handed over his newest comic that he had written with Greg Fake, Santos Sisters. Giant-sized, 56-page spectacular. All right, so if there's one comic you need to pick up this month, it is Santos Sisters.
Yeah,
Get this thing as soon as fucking possible.
It's hilarious.
The art is fucking spot on in terms of like what they're phoning in here.
It's like an Archie religious comic. Like what was that company called? That was it like Spire Books or something that would do? Yeah, it's like a ripoff of that, but it's not religious at all. It just looks like it is.
No, but it's fucking hilarious. And also the printing on this is amazing. It's offset printed on newsprint. It just feels really nice. If you put this on a newsstand somewhere at like a checkout counter, you wouldn't tell the difference between this and the other stuff, honestly.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. So much so that we might look into using the same printer for a project.
Yeah, we really do need to do that, honestly, because this is really well done.
Yes. Well, you can find Mark on Instagram at Cram Backwards.
Oh, and also you can find Greg and Fake on Instagram as well, at Greg and Fake.
Yep.
Brian McCrae came by. Really, really cool dude. Gave us a copy of Fifth Quadrant, which I did not have. Is this new? No, this is 2020. So no, not new, but I did not have this. So
I didn't have
really
it either,
awesome to get this.
But it was cool looking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very, very nice. I think it has art with someone else in it. Let me double check here. Oh, Noah Link.
Yeah, it's Brian and his usual gang of buddies that work in the anthologies he sent over.
I got here 3 Tales of Comic Spookiness. It's a horror comic zine by Mike Freiheit. The Infinite Horizon, Lake Michigan, and White Gnome are included.
And he gave me a copy of Woods.
Yes. Great book.
Which,
yes.
Yeah, honestly, incredible work, Mike. And honestly, you know, we don't have as many ads as we used to, but I remember running ads for Woods, and it was one of the cooler ads as far as, you know, like, it wasn't just us reading it. It was actually, you know, there's production behind it. So definitely pick up Woods from Birdcage Bottom Books.
Yeah, very thoughtful ad there. You can find him at MikeFreiheit.com, on Instagram at MikeFreiheit, FREIHEIT.
Yep, and...
Oh, another retreat guest, Craig Marcel Campbell. He gave us a copy of That Ol' English, #1.
Phenomenal comic, dude.
Woo! This one is a banger, folks. Yeah, definitely get this if you can.
We're going to have him on the show eventually, by the end of the year.
Yes. No, he's definitely going to be on the show. The plan was to record an interview with him during the retreat, but due to time constraints and the fact that it was the last night and everybody kind of wanted to relax, hang out, and drink, we ended up not being able to record, but... like we mentioned, we will get that done. Craig's already talked to us a bit about that, so we'll get that squared away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this comic is amazing. I can't say enough positive stuff about it. And then also another retreat guest and Blockfort tabler, Caroline Cash. They debuted Pee Poo Poo Comics #69. This one is also fucking great.
Yeah, what else was there to say?
Yeah, what's fucking new, right? Caroline Cash puts out a really good comic. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah. Alrighty. And then also we got a copy of Tales to Enlighten sent over by Matt King. He was the writer and James Edward Clark is the artist. Matt actually sent over a note with this, and it's pretty funny. Matt wrote, Cam, I'm fully aware of the Gutter Boys' disdain for writers, but here's a copy of our book anyways, LOL. Hope you dig it. Never stop the podcast. It's a breath of fresh air as far as comic podcasts go. Much needed. Keep on keeping on, Matt King. Matt was the writer, and I will say this book is very hefty, probably 300 plus pages. The comics in it make up the first half, look very fucking cool. It reminds me of that Deadline book. It was like an anthology book from Dark Horse in the 90s. It reminds me of that kind of style.
Okay.
And then the back is filled with pinups with friends of the show, Patrick Ian Rooks, Jasper Jubenville.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Tons of people. There's 100 plus pinups in this book. Very cool. You could check out Matt on Instagram at KingMegatrip23. This book looks great. And Matt, we hate a lot on writers here, but we also like writers. We just hate like the big two Twitter writer brain kind of writer.
Yeah,
So-
I mean we've had a writer on, Aubrey Sitterson.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. There, nah.
Yeah. So how do we hate writers when we've had one on the show? Yeah.
Exactly.
That's enough representation for me.
Just destroyed your argument. All right, and also big shout out to Bird God, Daniel Toucan Starflower. He sent over a copy of Turquoise, Bird God World, along with Sub Omnitropica, and a small mini comic.
It was like untitled from what I gathered.
That's untitled, yeah, but I mean, this is all great. This is all really, really solid. Oh, he also sent me The Path of the 10,000 Fireflowers.
Hell yeah. Yeah, he sent me the same stuff over.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool, very unique looking style-wise. I feel like we say world building a lot on this show, but you can tell it's like very unique in this world that he's set up individually that isn't really like anything I've seen before. You can tell he's having fun with his comics. You can find him on Instagram at birdgods with a Z at the end.
Yes, he also included a letter. Hi, JB, longtime fan of the show here. I'm doing a trade with Cam for some old Archie issues he wanted, so I figured I may as well do the whole send my comics to y'all while I was at it. Hope you enjoy. Keep up the great work. The show rocks, and your drawings do too. Oh, thank you. Peace and love. Peace and take care, Daniel.
I thought you really said peace and love. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Really, really appreciate it. I'm going to dig into these this weekend.
Alrighty, and finally, I know the past few episodes have been a little shout-out heavy, which is great. You can always send us your comics. Just message us at GutterboysPod on Instagram. We'll be happy to provide an address for you, and we post them on our Instagram and talk about it on the show. To conclude this round of shout-outs, we want to thank our friends over at Silver Sprocket. Silver Sprocket sent over a pretty big package, which they seem to do every few months for us, and we're very grateful. We ended up getting a copy of Good Boy Magazine, which was done by Michael Sweater and Benji Nate. Really good anthology printed on newsprint. Benji Nate's strip is the standout strip in that for me. Benji's work is fucking incredible. This story being no, exception to that rule. And we also got Montana Diary by Whit Taylor, friend of the show. Really cool, thoughtful, diary comic about traveling to Montana on vacation. A lot of racial tension there with, the majority of that area being white. Also in Trump's America when it took place. So good stuff there. Also very lucky to get a second printing of Girl in the World by Caroline Cash. I already had the first edition. I'm going to keep both, but this second edition really is something special as far as being an upgrade from the first one. It is significantly smaller, but it's done on a newsprint and has some spot gloss there. Caroline has mentioned that it's like the ideal printing format for them, so definitely see why. It looks like a lot more love and care was put into it. Not that the first one was bad. It's just, you didn't realize how far these things go when it comes to production until, you see them side by side.
All right. And then past guest in front of the show, Michael Kennedy from across the pond. He sent over Skiffle and the second edition of Fi on Thee, Knave.
Sounds like some British stuff, Michael.
It's a sketch.
Yeah.
It's a sketchbook. I can't say...
Look, we can't praise Michael Kennedy enough.
If you listen to the show, Michael Kennedy is a fucking beast.
Yeah.
Just absolute unstoppable beast. Fucking amazing cartoonist. Great writer. Real sharp sense of humor.
Mm-hmm. Such a refined style as well.
Yes, truly. And you can tell he can do it all.
Yeah, and Skiffle, to me, I talk with Michael, whatever, and we talk a lot about old newspaper strips, and he's really into Crazy Cat, which I think he mentioned on our episode. But
yes, he did, yeah.
Skiffle, you can tell he's trying to draw more action instead of, letting the words carry those strips, and it really harkens back to his love of those strips if you look at that stuff, in my opinion.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Michael Kennedy, he's one of those people that I'm like, dude, why do you even associate with us? Why are you on the Patreon? I'm thankful for it, but, it's just it's cool to be, to me, he's one of those artists that, I look up to, so it's cool that I'm able to talk to him.
Yeah, for real. It's nice to be on the ground floor with someone that's clearly better than you.
Yeah. Alrighty, so I did lie, and we have 2 more shout-outs left. Next is friend of the show, Harry Dean Wilmot. Harry is across the pond, also with Michael Kennedy over there in England, but he sent in his new comic Subscribe, which is a story about a content YouTube reviewer and the audience that watch him. And it's a kind of a sad story, but also laugh out loud funny. A lot of really cool page layouts here. You see, the anime, which it sounds lame because I'll be honest with you, a lot of the times you get a comic where somebody draws a YouTube window and it's like, okay, yeah, this is whatever. But it's done here in such a way that is different and it's funny and it's incorporated into the page layouts in such a strategic way that it works. Honestly, great comic. I was actually really surprised. Not that I, had anything against this guy. I just hadn't seen his work, and being my introduction to his work, I definitely want to see more. He also sent over a really nice note that was written in such nice penmanship that it looks typed. I actually have stared at it and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's pencil. But he wrote, "Hello, Cam and JB. Here are your copies to Subscribe. I hope you enjoy. I just wanted to say that your podcast helped motivate me to make this book. Your show is..." Yeah, so everybody that thinks we're toxic, we're actually contributing to the scene. No, but he goes on to say, "Your show has put me onto loads of great artists such as yourselves. Thank you. Or the guests you interview. You demystified lot." Yeah. You demystified a lot of the bull that goes into the comic book community, and your honesty is refreshing. I look forward to whatever you do next. Cheers, guys. Harry." Definitely recommend getting a copy of this book. Hopefully, Some American Distro gets a copy. If not, you can find him on Instagram at Harry_Dean, DEANE_Wilmot. Definitely recommend getting a copy of this.
Yes, he included in my copy a sketch, this really, really well done pencil drawing. It's not even a sketch, it's a full on drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next, because this is really, really solid, and it's very clear that he's going to be doing some great things here, I think.
Mm-hmm. And if our show influenced you to make this, keep listening, because I want you to keep making stuff. So thank you, Harry.
All right. Lastly, from Canada, we have listener Cole Pauls, who sent over quite a bit of stuff. He sent over his zine, Indigeneity in Comics. I'm sorry, Cole. I am not smart. Session 1, The Indian in Comics.
And it's actually a flip book. It's like
a proper
issues 1 and 2
zine, too. It's
very
informative. Very, very well done. He also sent over 2 books. Pizza Punk's Collection, Dark Water Warriors, both pretty hefty. I must say.
Yeah, both really nicely printed from Conundrum Press up in Canada.
Very, very nice. And also, hey, he sent me over a 7-inch of Tough Age by Conundrum Press and Mint Rex. Man, I hope I'm saying that right. And the 7-inch called Giuseppe Pizzeria. Haven't heard it yet. So I'm guessing this is tying in with the Pizza Punks. That's really cool, though, that he did that.
Yeah, it's a band that he did artwork for. There's actually a mini comic on the insert as well that Cole did. Okay. So yeah, it seems to be in line with the Pizza Punk stuff. The Pizza Punk stuff is pretty funny, actually, when you read it out loud. Yeah, so, Cole is very articulate when it comes to, showcasing information about Native Americans and the culture behind it, especially in that zine that he gave us. But then he also changes gears and will do a pretty funny book like Pizza Punks. So shout out to Cole for sending those over in front of the show. Yeah. He's been supporting us for a long time, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, I also found out I totally mispronounced that book. He sent over a letter. He said, "Yo, JB, here's a stack of my comics. Dark Wakata Warriors." So not Dark Wada or whatever the fuck I said.
Dark Water.
Dark Wakata Warriors is my first graphic novel, 2019. It's a bilingual comic in English and Southern. Oh boy, Tachion. Damn. Anyway, it's about 2 native Power Rangers, Wolf and Crow, saving the world from evil pioneers and cyber Sasquatches. Pizza Punks is a gag strip about punks eating pizza. Well, okay. It's mostly art school student work, but I drew a whole new issue for the collection. The 7-inch is 2 official Pizza Punk anthems. Side A is Dumb's Pizza Slice, and Side AA is Tough Age's Giuseppe Pizzeria, released by Conundrum and Mint Records. Risograph printed by Moniker Press, vinyl pressed by Clampdown Pressing, and all in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Shout out Vancouver, what's up?
What up, Nardwar?
Indigenuity in comics. This is like a trap. I can't pronounce anything in this. God damn. Okay, Ingenuity in Comics is a fanzine I made in 2018 that critiques indigenous representation in comics and also celebrates authentic indigenous authors. And enjoys some pins and patches. Oh yeah, he sent over some really cool pins and patches over with this too. Find me at tundrawizard.com, tundra-wizard.myshopify.com, and he's on Twitter and Instagram at tundrawizard. Thanks for reading. Cole Pauls. Love your shitposts. Well, thank you, Cole, so much for sending all of this stuff. I mean, that's very kind of you. Very, very thoughtful. This letter was very thoughtful. I'm very stupid, clearly. So thanks for outing me, I guess. But not a difficult task, to be honest.
Gutter Boy's stupid? No way.
Yeah, what? Yeah, but thank you, Cole. Really, really appreciate that. And I think that does it for the shout-outs. Wow, that was a lot.
Yeah, that whole episode is pretty much shout-outs. But we hope the biggest takeaway from this is Simu Liu does not rock. He's a pedophile.
Or, depending on what side of the fence you are, he does rock even more now.
Yes, if you're into, the whole, Lolita Express vibe, he might be riding with you on that plane. So, yeah, it sucks that Epstein died before Simu Liu popped off because, he would have been on the plane if, this all came out in 5 years.
If I was an Asian pedophile, I'd be like, finally. Finally, someone says it. Some representation for the
MCU,
the child lover community. Yeah, within the MCU. Yeah.
Marvel Children's Union. All right, we gotta go. We'll be back after the break, folks.
We'll be right back.
Floodland brings together a series of personal and natural disasters featured in comics by Australian cartoonist and cult hero Jonathan McBurney. Beginning with the protagonist's chronic illness, it relates a long period of bizarre artistic practices, awkward art school relationships, the brutal reality of the 9-to-5 grind of this emerging artist, and culminates in the massive flood in his hometown. The peripheral characters whose lives orbit the same places and occasionally overlap through mundane circumstances include Basquiat, an artist-cum-superhero whose successes are vastly out of proportion with his talents, Picasso Minotaur, a brawny beefcake sculptor with fire in his belly and hate in his heart, and Kirby Kelly, a hapless and constantly flummoxed experiment gone wrong. Floodland is a 96-page hardcover available from arglebarglebooks.com. Check out jonathanmcburney.com and king_of_nails on Instagram for more beefcake, wrestling, and existential conundrums.
Rust Belt Review is a quarterly comics lit magazine featuring serialized and short-form comics from some of the most exciting cartoonists in the small press scene today. Volume 1 features work from Gutter alums M.S. Harkness, Audra Stang, and Caleb Orecchio, along with work by Andrew Greenstone, Sean Knickerbocker, and Juan Jose Fernandez. You can order your copy of Rust Belt Review today by going to rustbeltreview.org. Enter in promo code GUTTER to receive $2 off your order. Again, that website is rustbeltreview.org, promo code GUTTER.
Now, back to our program.
Welcome back from the break. Today we are here in Hocking Hills. This is one of the few upcoming episodes where the format might be a little different in the sense of you're going to hear me and JB sharing a microphone. You're going to hear random squeaks, people walking down the stairs and so forth. But that's not important. Today we are here with Minneapolis, Minnesota-based cartoonist Sean Knickerbocker. You know him from his work in Rust Belt as well as Killbuck. And he is currently the editor and a contributor to Rust Belt Review. How you doing, dude?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Just enjoying this this nice week off, hanging out with all you fellas here in Hocking Hills.
Yeah, just the boys out here.
No girls here.
No girls allowed.
Not in the basement.
Not in the basement.
It smells like shit down here. It's just really drafty, and it's really nice down here.
Just a nice fog of BO.
It immediately smelled like BO the moment it was designated the boy basement. Like it was
really
just
was.
like, okay, just
It was
BO
willed into
just seeped
existence.
out of the floors. It's like something on The Shining.
Yeah, so we are here together on a retreat, and we're all working on projects that are in various states and so forth. So just because we're right in the middle of it, we're looking out a window right now at, just this beautiful forest behind us. It's actually been a really nice trip so far. We're about halfway through it, but how's your experience been here so far?
It's been really good. It's been nice to have a lot of time to draw and write. Like I have like a full-time job, so normally I can only like get a couple hours of writing or drawing in at the end of the day. So it's been nice to just like have a lot of energy, and then but also feel like I can like take a nap and get back to work. So it's been nice to really just like really steep myself in this project.
Nice. Yeah, we're definitely grinding out here. Me and Cam are definitely not just getting high and watching AEW.
We're not drinking sparkling seltzers at 2:30 in the afternoon right now or anything like that. But no, it's really cool to actually like look around and just see everybody working on their different projects and so forth. Have you ever been in an environment like this?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of like when I first really got into comics. Like, there's a group of people that we did like a comics jam thing like every Saturday, and we would we'd hang out for like 12 hours at a time, and like just like draw comics or just talk about comics and shit.
12 hours.
Yeah, but I think it was just an excuse. Like, it was a bunch of like shy cartoonists that like eventually it was like, hey, we can like hang out on the days that aren't designated as comics jam, and we can just be friends.
Mm-hmm.
So then then the jam sessions were a little shorter.
Yeah. Any of those cartoonists you're still close with? Are they still making cartoon or comics?
Yeah, there's a decent amount of them. My good friends Alex Bullitt, who does a comic called Goblins, and Andrew Greenstone, who's actually in Rust Belt Review. They're both there, and this is like down in Georgia. But there's a few other people like Pranis. I don't know if you know who Pranis Noukaitis is. He does like a lot of work for Boom Studios. He's a really talented cartoonist.
I was gonna say, is that the Jewish rapper dude, Yaphet Kotto?
And if I'm not mistaken, you went to the Center for Cartoon Studies as well. What year did you graduate from that program?
Yeah, so I was at CCS from 2010 to 2012. So it was like kind of like shortly after like the first like big roundup of like cartoonists that came out of like the program. It was kind of like the next generation of CCS students kind of doing our own thing. So that was a fun time to be there, I think.
So overall, was your experience there positive? Do you feel like it was, detrimental to your career in comics, or?
Not at all.
Absolutely.
I really liked it. It's so tough with that kind of stuff because, like, I think, like any kind of like private art school kind of thing. Like the critique is relevant that, you know, there's a paywall to get into a community, you know. But there is something valuable to be in a community as well. So I think if you do find yourself in a situation where like you absolutely will not do anything else in your early 20s other than like draw comics, like and you have the funds, like I don't think it's a bad decision to make at all. But obviously, like if you don't have that, like you don't need it. Like you just need to reach out to people in communities online and kind of be a little bit more social than maybe you're comfortable with. And I think you could still have a pretty good career in comics. So yeah, I really love CCS. You know, I'm a really shy person, so like I think like the administrative people there really like helped me introduce myself to like publishers and editors and stuff, and like that's kind of like where I began my relationship with Secret Acres was at CCS. So like I don't think if I was at CCS I would have like ever been bold enough to like walk up to an editor and be like, here's my portfolio, what do you think, you know? But like being in a place that like allowed for that kind of, you know, expectation was good.
Hell yeah. So I'm familiar with your body of work from Secret Acres. You know, I didn't see any of your minis before. The first book that I had gotten from you is from MS Harkness was posting that you all were doing a reading together somewhere. And I want to say that was Rust Belt. It was at 2016, if I'm not mistaken. 2017?
The Rust Belt collection came out in 2019, so that was probably the book you probably found.
Okay, it feels a lot longer. It feels like a lot longer ago, but I guess
it's
the
been
pandemic.
A long couple of years.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like it was pretty early on that I found that. So that was a mini comic before it was a book.
Yeah. So that was actually like my thesis project at CCS. Is like I wanted to like make stories about like post-industrial America, kind of like rural kind of places where I kind of like grew up, and at the time I was like, I felt like there wasn't like a lot of that out there. And I was like, man, this country is super fucked up and not a lot of people know about it. And I feel like by the time it actually came out as a collection, it was like, that's what the entire country looked like. So
how dare you? We live in the greatest country in the world.
Were you born and raised in Minnesota?
No. I do that. Wrong.
Okay.
Wrong.
Well, tell me then.
Tell us about Buffalo.
Yeah, I grew up like an hour south of Buffalo, New York.
I knew this too, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, kayfabe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in the woods in a really rural area. Kind of like, you know, the only thing we had in town was like a out of commission nuclear plant that had been like irradiating the water.
Oh, good. And then
awesome. It was like the only privately owned processing plant for used uranium rods for a couple of years.
Fucking living in Springfield.
Yeah, within 18 months of it being opened, like a majority of the scientists that worked there left because they'd never seen that many like contamination events. God damn. So within a few years, it was shut down and it was turned into what they call a demonstration project, which is ran by the state. And it's kind of like them trying to figure out a way to clean the land and make it livable, sort of, and also clean up the mess that this private company left. So that was kind of like all that shit happened before I was even born. But that was like kind of like that was the shadow of like what I lived in. And like, I don't know, at the time I thought it was really unique. But I feel like if you go to a lot of like small rural towns, like every community has like some sort of like catastrophic environmental event that's kind of like fucked that town over.
Yeah,
you know, it's
100%. Yeah,
that our flavor just happened to be like use your uranium rods, you know.
Yeah, the classic. not true. Yeah.
Alrighty. So, when did you make the jump to Minnesota, and was that informed by wanting to go there for like, you know, the comic scene? Because you do have, you know, there's a lot of creators there that are currently working, that are making some exciting work. I mean, even Autoptic Festival, which we were a part of, you know, past couple of years happens there, and it's always a good show. So, what made you make the jump over there?
Yeah, so my wife actually got accepted into a writing program in southern Minnesota. So we lived there for like 3 years. And I mean, I don't think I was like completely sold on Minnesota until I moved to Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. And then like it like really made sense. There's a really strong comics community there, but there's also like a really strong writing community, which like is important to my wife. And obviously it's good to have us both happy and feel like we're doing something that's meaningful. So Minneapolis in general just seemed like a book town, so it seemed like a good place to set up shop. So that's what we did, and like now I'm working in book printing, and my wife is works in the library, and so like we're very book centric and book oriented. So
Hell yeah.
It's nice.
Well, I did want to kind of talk about your day job just a little bit because you do work for a, commercial book printer.
Yeah.
And, talking to you, before today, just online, I know you really care about, the craft and, the process behind printing. You seem to be very well informed about that.
Yeah.
Is it something that you were interested in, and that's why you got into that field? Because it kind of goes hand in hand with comics, you're printing them and so forth. Like, is that something that you were just like, I want to try this, or did you have an interest beforehand to get into stuff like that?
Oh yeah, totally. Like when I went to CCS and I kind of like learned about screen printing, like it kind of informed how I drew, like working in colors and layers and building an image through that process was really important to me. And then I picked it up pretty quickly, and like there wasn't like a lot of work for like somebody with just a high school education to like kind of get by. That wasn't just like in the service economy in the Upper Valley where CCS is. So like I kind of found myself working at like a lot of different print shops to kind of like make a little bit more money than you would in the service industry. And like over time, I just got really into it. Like it made sense. Like it tied directly to like the work I was making. It felt like I was able to like have a meaningful day job and actually pay the bills, which is, can be really difficult. So that was kind of like how I got into print, and I've just been around it ever since then. And like it matters a lot to me. Like I do feel like the comics that mean the most to me are like comics that are designed for the printed medium. That's nothing that's like not a knock against web comics or anything, but it's like, to me, like holding a book is like almost like having like a personal conversation or like visiting a friend. And I don't necessarily get that from like a digital experience all the time. So
yeah, I agree with that. I'm not feeling it when I read a digital comic. It's just not the same.
And while you were very nice about it and you said, it's not a diss on webcomics, we do hate webcomics here at Gutter Boys headquarters. No, we're just kidding. We don't hate webcomics. But so I do, I want to get into, the Secret Acres stuff. But before that, I kind of want to see where you came from, because I'm not familiar with your career before the Secret Acres books.
Yeah.
And, before you went to CCS. Sure. So what brought that, love of comics? How long were you making them? What got you to the dance? What made you want to go to school for them? Like, if you want to kind of tell that story.
Yeah, so I grew up, and I really loved animation. Like I think I grew up at just the right time, right? Like it was like the early 90s, so like the Simpsons was on, and Batman the Animated Series was on, and Ren and Stimpy was on.
Totally a golden age in hindsight.
And then you also had all of these like VHS copies of like old cartoons that were like really affordable and cheap to come by. So like,
are you talking about like you'd get them at like truck stops and Cracker Barrel, be like 100 cartoons, 3 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like classic tunes. I think they
cartoon classics or whatever. I found like the Superman the Fleischer Superman cartoons through that, and like the Popeye cartoons, and like that stuff really stuck with me. So like I was really into animation, and I thought that's what I was going to do. And like I got really into like Ralph Bakshi when I was a teenager, and like I started to kind of see like kind of the pitfalls of being like an auteur, if you will, for like animation, right? Like Bakshi like definitely always had like financial issues, and like not to say that wasn't tied to some of his own like personal problems, but you could kind of see in his work that like the vision was always grander than what he could afford to do. Right. And growing up like super poor, I was like, I'll never be able to make an animated movie, So but I was like, but I could like draw a comic. So then I got really into comics from that, and then like jumped into like all the alternative stuff, and like a big early influence for me was Harvey Pekar and American Splendor, because again, like it's so rare to have like someone talking about like not being able to pay the bills and shit, like it's like that and Roseanne, I feel like were the only thing from like that I had like contact with as a young person that was like that felt real, where everything else was just like rich kids like in American Pie or something. So it really resonated with me, and that kind of like set me on this path of doing kind of short fiction, or even sometimes autobio that kind of revolved around working class stuff.
Working class hero right here.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think that's a misguided trope, obviously, at this point too, but it definitely did more good than harm, I would say. So
yeah, and that's, I think, one thing that, is a constant theme in your comics is, just like the working class. All of your characters come from that, same upbringing. Well, not all of them, but like it's a constant theme that runs through your books as far as the material that I've read. It seems so personal and something that so well, which to me comes across on the page and, in the writing as well as, the artwork. Do you tap into that purposefully? Is it kind of one of those things that, it's like, this is what I know, so I want to make the work about this? Do you think you'll ever leave that rural setting
I think so. I think, I haven't lived like in a rural area since I was at CCS, like I've kind of, now I'm doing all right, so that's like one thing is like financially, like it's not like I'm buried in money now, but like I think there's a huge difference between being like $40 ahead every pay period versus $40 behind. Like It doesn't take much to like kind of completely change how you're living, so I think my work's going to shift, and I think that's probably for the best because, like, I don't live in Buffalo anymore, and I'm not struggling like that anymore. So I don't think it's necessarily my place to kind of like keep acting like that's my story to tell. Like I told my story from that time, and I kind of want to provide a platform for other people to do that. So that's kind of like why I'm doing Rust Belt Review.
Is the Buffalo area pretty expensive?
No, not at all.
No,
it's super
okay.
cheap. Like I knew when we were moving, like back in 2014.
Yeah.
You could rent out a house for like $600 a month. I think it's changed a little bit, but
sure.
It's still, I'd say it's still relatively affordable.
Okay.
It hasn't yet been gentrified.
Gotcha. Yeah, the mass exodus is gonna happen. Once Flushing's got hit, they're in trouble. Buffalo is just a matter of a couple of years.
Absolutely. Like the medical, like there's like a huge like boom because of like the medical technology industry. So like it's coming, and it's only a matter of time.
Hell yeah. Shout out to the medical field.
But they might have a socialist mayor soon. So like
I heard about that. Yeah.
So
that would be amazing.
Yeah. So hopefully it happens. I mean, she won the primary and it should be kind of an easy win. But the person that lost he's running a write-in campaign. And of course, like all the money from media, like local media is behind him.
Sure, of course.
So
right.
it's
the
pretty
write-in
grotesque.
Candidate.
Yeah, it's a pretty grotesque, weird situation.
Fucking so sad.
But
God damn.
It's pretty wild. But hopefully, they have a socialist mayor, and like, good for them, man. Like, I don't think there's a lot of places you can get away with doing that shit now, So
yeah, no, you're right.
Take the W's where you can get them.
For sure.
I want to get a little bit into your process and kind of put a bow on, your comics work before we get into your recent project, which is also you contributing to, an anthology that's quarterly. But as far as your process, we've been lucky to kind of see it here, posted up over there at a table. We see you working on pages and so forth. But your comics seem very thought out. And pre-planned from a reader standpoint, and that's good. I mean that in a very good way. It doesn't seem like you're winging it. It seems like it's very complete. When I read one of your books, I'm like, okay, yes, like everything makes sense. It's all tied up. It's written super well. So where do you start? Do you start with the writing?
Yeah, I do start from the writing. Like, this is actually like, I had mentioned earlier that my wife is a writer. So like, she's definitely like kind of helped me like hone that craft a little bit more. Like, taught me a little bit about editing and the value of doing that. So that's not to say like I don't do like a full blown script. Like, I'm not like a writer. Like I'm not like a comics writer, I don't like write it all out, but I do like have like a very like detailed list of things that happens on a single page. And, I start to develop the dialogue as I'm like kind of seeing how the characters act in those situations, so that's kind of how that comes together for the writing process. But yeah, I do have like a pretty strong skeleton for what the story looks like before I start drawing, because otherwise it just gets out of control.
Speaking of your wife and her writing background, have you two ever, like, has it ever come up to work on a project like a comic together?
Yeah, early on we tried, but I'm really bad about working with other people.
Okay.
It wasn't even like it was it was just like one of those things where it's like, this is really
of an anthology.
Yeah. Well, it's different. Like,
no, I know it's different. Yeah,
I'm the boss. It's different.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like to. I've like adapted, like for like just personal projects and stuff I've shared with my wife. I've like adapted some of her poetry, and that was like a really fun exercise. I think eventually I would like to do that. And now she's working on like a quarterly lit mag too for poetry. So like I always have this idea in the back of my mind that like maybe we could team up for an issue and do like a comics and poetry thing.
So this is just like, kind of giving some insight to some conversations that I've had here with people. I was talking with Caroline Cash earlier, and we were talking about how we would never be able to date a cartoonist because like maybe it'd be a little competitive, it'd be just an interesting dynamic. Now you are working with your wife who is a writer. Is there any kind of, competitive dynamic with you all both being involved with releasing anthology collections and so forth? Not to, sandbag you with your wife or anything, but is there an interesting dynamic or anything there?
No, it's all positive. Like, I think that I think it's, unlike dating someone that's perhaps in the exact same field as you, like she also does something that requires a lot of work and makes zero money and nobody gives a shit about. So like we're able to like empathize with one another with that. And and we both understand that, when it's go time to work on the project, that's what it is, and like respect that. But there's obviously a balance to that too. And that's still something like we're working out. And that's like, we're due to have a baby in February. And like, that's definitely going to be like a new challenge, I'm sure, to like just keep in the back of my mind. It's like, we're both creative people and we need to make sure we have the energy to work on our projects and not like take that from another person, so.
Yeah. I feel like once you have a kid, all bets are off. You know what I mean? Like it's,
I don't have a child, so I really can't speak in from an informed standpoint here. But yeah, I just imagine it'd be a totally different thing. But congratulations on that. What's your daily schedule look like? You try to work on comics every day? Do you? Yeah,
I try. I wake up early in the morning and like I try and get some drawing done, or at least some writing, and then in the evening for a couple hours I try and draw. Like it doesn't always come together every day, like things come up, but like generally speaking, like I try and use the first hour of my day to kind of like take care of like the tiny tasks that will like distract me when it comes to making comics, like like setting up posts or just like doing administrative work or like writing. And then the evening I try to do like 1 or 2 hours of like just drawing. Like I said, it doesn't always come together, but that's like the general like that's the goal every day.
In your process, so you said, what's up?
There's a deer staring at us. If this makes the episode.
Oh yeah. Hey, what's up, deer? Sorry, we had to pause because a deer is staring right at us.
Hello, friend.
Hey, we're podcasting. Get the fuck out of here.
Maybe the deer has a question.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have a listener question here. No, nothing.
It's sticking its tongue out at us, so I don't know if that's good or bad.
Nothing.
That's a sign of affection.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Majestic.
Get out of here, you fucking bitch.
With your process, so you said that you don't really fully write out a script.
Yeah.
So are you more kind of just making, I guess the closest comparison would be thumbnails?
Yeah, kind of like, yeah.
With notes,
and like
I
that's
guess.
the same thing too with like the dialogue in a sense is a thumbnail too. Cause like I'll write down like pretty much like what the character means. Like this is when the character is going to speak in this panel, and this is this is the objective. This is the information I need to get across. And I kind of draw those figures and kind of see like what information is already being conveyed with like the gestures that I'm able to accomplish.
Yeah.
And at that point I adjust the dialogue to kind of like complement that in a way so it doesn't seem redundant.
So you have your beats, the information you need to get across in those beats, and you just go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you one of those people that kind of wings it once you actually like get to translating from thumbnail to page, or are you completely knowing what you're going to do before you approach the page?
It's best for me to know exactly what I'm doing. I can knock out a page a lot quicker. Sometimes like I do get impatient and I just need to go for it. And what usually happens is I spend a lot of time trying to get like a composition correctly that I probably could have seen a lot easier if I had just done it at a smaller size. So then I end up like not being able to successfully fill the space in a really aesthetically pleasing way. So it's best for me to do thumbnails. But it doesn't always happen.
So with like stuff like composition and layouts and stuff like that, is that something that you kind of get hyper focused on at all? Or do you find yourself running into roadblocks while pumping out pages with those things?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I do that. It happens a lot, especially when you're doing like a lot of dialogue heavy stuff. It's really difficult to like make sure it looks visually interesting, you know?
Yeah.
So there are those times, but then like I usually find, those are usually really helpful moments where it's like, oh, this feels really static. I need to add more to it. And it does give an opportunity to like kind of add a little bit more dimension, add some more acting to what the characters are doing, or add something to the background. And then that could probably, inform a little bit more about who those characters are and what they're about. But yeah, it does slow me down from time to time for sure.
And have you ever had like a weird urge or sudden impulse to make a story that's less dialogue driven?
Yeah, I've done that before. It's so tough because I feel like...
Because we were talking about action earlier.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like, for me, like, dialogue or any kind of text on the page, I feel like anchors the eye a little bit.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you take away dialogue or,
It's a literal
or captions,
arrow.
yeah, exactly, right? Like it's those words are kind of training your eyes to scan the page in a certain way.
Right.
I feel like, at least with me, when I'm reading a comic that doesn't have dialogue or whatever, like it's really easy for my eyes to just jump all over the place because I'm just trying to look at what I find to be the most interesting, and it doesn't necessarily follow a reading path.
Yeah.
So there's probably people that are masters of doing this, but like I think
Yeah.
I think it's tricky to really nail it.
I think of Mazzucchelli in terms of like where he would decide to have the movements and actions go in relation to the direction of the panels. And it would be so easy because like all of these visual cues are giving you gestures as to where you're supposed to read and the flow of the story per page.
Yeah. Mazzucchelli is definitely a master of that. Like there's this, I'm going to describe a comic book page, and
Yes.
we're just going to get through this. I'm sorry. But there's a page in Batman Year One where Mazzucchelli draws Batman going down like a emergency stairwell kind of thing.
That's exactly the page I was thinking.
Yeah. And like you can follow like the contours of his cape, which kind of lead to like his body that's going straight down. And it's like one of those things where like your eyes just like, it's just a funnel. You know, like the action is all through like a funnel that's created with that composition, and like it adds so much like momentum to like those bottom panels that really, adds a lot of strength to that page. So like,
Yeah, he's doing the heavy lifting for you.
Absolutely.
As the reader.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like it's becoming a lost art form in some ways.
Sure. Like I try and read like superhero comics every once in a while, and like now it just seems like it's just like storyboard artists that are just like trying to like knock out the shit that would maybe work.
It's just busy and aimless.
Yeah, and it's tough to read. I mean, I don't know. I suppose even if the superhero comics were like drawn well, I probably still wouldn't read them. But it's but it doesn't help that like the people that seem to be drawing them for the most part are boring, excluding people like Ramon, of course.
Yeah.
Not trying to
Don't get on his bad side.
Absolutely not. Ramon's very talented.
Hey, Ramon, fuck off. But no. So you said you wouldn't read superhero comics today. Even if they were drawn well. Was that your entry to the dance? Is that what you grew up reading? What'd you grow up reading?
I like went through a little bit of a superhero phase in like the mid 90s, like when there was like that superhero, like there was like the comic book direct market, Blitz or whatever. So I got into it, but it's kind of like as a collector item, because that's like what you're supposed to do with them. But like being a kid that didn't have a lot of money, it's not like I had like the cool hollow foil covers or whatever. So like I had like DC versus Marvel, like issues 1 through 4.
Yeah.
And
cool
like I looked at those things a million fucking times.
They had the big hands, like the red and the blue hand, and the Marvel was on one side, DC was on one side. That was actually like fan voted on, but I don't know if they actually like listened to the fans there, but allegedly it was like all the fight results were fan voted on.
Well, because I was thinking of Amalgam. That's what that is.
Yeah,
okay.
Amalgam came after that. Yeah.
Like, so what ended up happening is like the first pages was like there was a red hand that was like Marvel, and there was a blue hand that was DC, and at the end, like I think there was a tie because like they were gonna obliterate one universe, and there was a tie. So if I'm not mistaken, the two hands clapped together, and that started the Amalgam universe.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
That sounds about right.
Sure.
So really,
McDonough's upstairs, so we'll verify when we record with him.
So Wolverine and Batman become one. It's
that's what I remember.
Yeah,
was like, what? How does this make sense? But okay.
It's funny how that works. Like how like two of the coolest people like are combined into like one super cool being.
Yeah, and Wolverine and Batman. It was Dark Claw, and that was the coolest one to come out of that. And there was a comic that Ty Templeton did that was illustrated in the same style of the Batman the Animated Series, starring Dark Claw.
Oh man!
And it's like a one-off issue. One of my favorite single issue comics ever. It just looks cool as shit.
Yeah.
Where's the Dark Claw action figure? Come on.
Gotta get that Dark Claw going.
Yeah.
That was definitely like, so that was like my only real like superhero moment. And then like, like I just feel like I caught on to like the cycle of what was happening with superhero comics really quickly. And like, as soon as I figured out what the formula was, like I just got bored with it. And then very briefly when I got back into comics in my teenage years, like I just remember picking up like a Wizard magazine and being like, well, I remember looking at this when I was a kid, like, let's see what people are recommending for reads or whatever. And it was all bad, right? Like it was, this was like when Batman. This is like All-Star Batman was coming out, so they were like super hyped about. So like the cover had like an Alex Ross painting of like a Jim Lee drawing of Batman was like the cover of this Wizard magazine. I was like, all right, this is what's going on in comics, and like I bought that stuff, and I was like, this sucks. But like in the back of one of those Wizards was like an indie section. It was called like Secret Stash or something stupid like that. But there's like a thumbnail image of like Kramer's Got 5, and like it had a very, very brief descriptor. It was like, this is the CBGBs of comics right now. Like that was it. It was like
if I was in that issue, I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah, super lame. But like as like a super lame teenager, it's like that sounds really cool. Yeah. So like that, I immediately like started seeking out like Kramer's, and then like from there, like, you know, all the people that were in those issues of Kramer's, I started like checking out their like mini comics and stuff, and kind of went down that path. That
editorial blurb is wild because that assumes that those guys want to work at the big two, right? Like if you're doing a CBGB's, like you think of the CBGB's quote unquote brand in retrospect, and it's like people that toured and like played amphitheaters and shit like that.
Yeah, it was like a cool place to play, I guess. But I guess at first, though, you know, it was a punk club, so I guess it was like the underground at first. But alrighty. So before we get into the editorial side of things, I do want to kind of just, you know, ask you about what you're currently working on. You know, I've seen you working on pages. I'm assuming those are for the next Rust Belt.
Yeah. So the pages I'm working on here, I was just finishing up the next chapter for Volume 3, and now I'm starting to write out and thumbnail and hopefully draw a bunch of pages for Volume 4. I'm just trying to build a buffer right now, so once the baby's born, maybe I'll have, you know, I won't worry about falling behind. I mean, I'm going to fall behind, of course, because it's more important to be a caring partner and father than
of course
to draw a stupid comic book. but I am trying to use this opportunity to get as much done as I can. And like at this point too, like I'm really excited about the project, but like this is the first time I've actually had like multiple like plates spinning. So I have like another project too that I'm like super stoked about. And so I feel like I'm in a good point where I'm like, I have like a ton of work to do, but I actually feel like I have like a really solid path. It's just like executing. So
are you able to talk about that other project, or is it a pitch, or you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it just yet. Like, you know, I'm pretty confident it's going to end up somewhere, but I don't want to like put this thing out there and then just have like people laugh at me 4 years from now.
What's up, Jasper?
JB's wearing a Jasper Juvenile shirt while he says that, Jasper. So you know it's all peace and love.
Wink and nod.
Yeah. So I do want to talk about Rust Belt Review, which, you know, if you're a longtime listener of the show, you've been hearing the ads. If you don't have a copy, it's crazy. Promo code Gutter, get you a couple bucks off of it. Assuming that still works, Sean. Sorry, that's taking money out of your pocket. No, but and I'm not just saying this because Sean is right here. I am a size queen when it comes to books, and this is a large format 9x12.
Cam shoves every issue that he gets into his ass.
But no. I love the magazine format, and this is bigger than your standard magazine. It's 9x12, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Great paper stock. I love looking at art at that size. But all that aside, the contributors are, you know, previous guests, so we'd be a little biased, you know, putting them over. But you're doing a great job with the book.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, it's what is it? September now. It'll be on my December year-end list as far as best comics of the year.
I'm relieved. Thank you.
Yeah. No, you know, I buy every issue. The production is incredible, which is in part because you're overseeing it. You're printing it yourself at where you're working, but you are changing gears, and, you know, you're not just driving, you know, the book entirely. As, you know, an editor, as someone who's been in comics, you know, what made you want to do an anthology? There's tons of anthologies out there, but the cream rises to the top, including your book.
Yeah, I want to, you know, like I want to have a slightly different approach. So like I feel like there's a couple different types of anthologies out there, and like I think they're really effective. Like the one that I think is the most effective is like what Sammy's doing with Kramer's, which is like he's curating work until he gets a book ready. You know, like the book will be ready when it's ready, when he has the work. And like all those books, they have a very distinct flavor to them. And I think that's a really effective way to put the anthology together. But the problem with that is like it takes a long time. And I feel like the other anthology that I see a lot is like the theme anthology, which is like not one I'm as excited about. I think I understand the appeal of it, but it's like not personally like how I like to read anthologies. So I wanted to make something that did have like a variety of like non-themed material, but I wanted it to be a venue for people to kind of work on larger projects, or just at least to just like feel like they're participating in the community a little bit more. And because of the pandemic, like shows aren't happening, so it seemed like a good opportunity to be like, I'm gonna reach out to people, and they have space to do their story, and like I can be as hands-on or hands-off as they would like, as an editor, or and just put out like the best looking printed book I can with that material. So I reached out to some people, and we've got going. We got some serialized stuff, some one-off stuff, and I need to start reaching out to some more people again. So I will say I have like an open call right now, and like I invite whoever to pitch an idea to me, like a couple paragraphs and like a link to their website. But like, I mean, as always seems to be the case, like the only people that seem to have like the guts or like the gumption to do that are just like white dudes that are just like, oh, I have a great idea for a comic. It's like, I know you do. Like, right. So I need to like start reaching out to people to be like, no, I think I would like really like to have you in my anthology. Like, so I need to do a little bit more of that. So.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to ask, because I know obviously the first two were curated. You've got some stories that are going multiple issues. And then I did see that you're doing open, call for submissions, and I was wanting to know how that went. That was my next question. You already answered that there. But let's just say you do continue to accept open submissions. What are you looking for as an editor of an anthology? I mean, you could be as broad as you want here, or as specific, with Rust Belt. Yeah,
sure. So I think like even as I've worked on this project, I've learned a few things. Like at first I was really on board for doing serialized work, but I think there is some setbacks to it. Doing like a serialized thing. So I think like I'm kind of veering away from encouraging serialized work. Although if someone has like a larger project they'd like to pitch, I'd entertain the idea. But I'm kind of looking for comics that aren't based in like genres so much. It's just like general fiction. Like I'm just looking for general fiction comics that are like 8 to 12 pages long, that work really nicely in black and white, and that hopefully feel very satisfying at that page length. And I think that's a really big and specific ask. But I feel like the format of Rust Belt Review and like the way things work, I feel like people have a lot of freedom, because like one, like the format is like, it's a really large size, but like the actual like dimensions, like they can be shrunk down to like a lot of really nice scene sizes. So if like somebody wanted to take that work and collect it elsewhere, it'd be pretty simple to do. Totally. And of course, like everyone owns the rights to all their work or whatever. So like, that allows people that are like trying to do like interesting short comics to actually have a venue to do those comics and then like eventually collect them. Because that's something I really liked about Mome.
Oh yeah,
was like
great anthology.
Yeah, like they also did like a lot of serialized stuff, and I can kind of see why they veered away from that too. But with like especially like a lot of the shorter comics, like there's like that Dash Shaw collection that came out of that. Like I love that, and like Eleanor Davis's collection is also really fantastic. So I think some really great projects came out of people that were just like kind of chipping away at it through anthology work for a number of years.
So I do want to ask about the future of Rust Belt Review. I know you said you personally were working on, stories for it up to issue 4. Is this going to be one of those things that you have, an end amount of issues, that you see in the future? Are you going to kind of keep it alive as long as it sells?
Yeah. So the initial plan was I wanted to see how people responded to it within the first year, and from there I was going to kind of like reassess and kind of go from there. I think, in the future, maybe I would change the trim size. Although I really do love it. I'm also a size queen.
Hell yeah.
So that might not be something I change, but there could be other things I change about it. For instance, like maybe I won't do it every 3 months at a certain point, but at least until I finish my project and like the people that have also signed on to do like serialized stories with me, until that stuff's done, like I'm going to stick to the quarterly releases and the trim size. But I'm open to anything, because like I just want this to be sustainable. So if that means like I need to change the way I'm doing things in the future, I'd be willing to do it. So
for sure. So let's talk a little bit about issue 3 that's coming up. What's going on in it?
Yeah, there's a couple things I'm really excited about for it. Like I guess the first thing about issue 3 is like I always try and have like a little goodie to include with like pre-orders. And for this issue, we have like a 3-color Rizzo print that Audra Stang drew, and she also drew the cover for this issue. So those are 2 things I'm stoked about. In terms of contributors, we have like a lot of people returning. We have a couple of new faces that I'm pretty excited about. I don't know if you're familiar with Andrew White's work, but he does like poetry comics, kind of.
I'm a huge fan of Andrew White, and I like huge fan. I buy every comic he's done. I've been buying yearly the past 3 years. Hearing that he's going to be contributing a story is amazing. Actually, I don't know how much of it comes out in my work, but whenever I'm working on a comic, I always have an Andrew White comic nearby because he's so good at I feel like sometimes I'll be working too much in a panel, and Andrew's perfect when it comes to what to show. Some of his stuff is so minimal from an approach standpoint, and it's just perfectly executed as all you need to know in his comics.
Yeah. On top of that, I'm also stretching into doing articles and stuff. So this issue, I'm testing the waters with a type of article. I'm doing an article that's kind of about the process of printing from home, printing your own comics from home, and how to do that on the cheap, because that's a thing I did for a very long time. So in this issue, I'm going to kind of go over how what stuff you can buy for super cheap, and how you can print a comic from your home on a super tight budget. So that it's going to have a pretty cool little surprise with that too. So.
And I think that's really fucking awesome because, a lot of comics, people don't know that kind of stuff and don't even really think to ask, because it's something that's just kind of unspoken. You figure it out on your own. And I really think that's a nice guide.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to include articles like that. I really like that idea, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'll be ordering every single issue the day it comes out, I have been.
Yeah.
I can't recommend it enough. It's very biased. A lot of my friends are in it. You're in it. You make incredible work. And we do have some, not listener questions because we're off the grid, but we've got some questions from people here at the Cartoonist Retreat. So let me go ahead and get those ready here.
Okay. First question from MS Harkness. When Tiger's wife was preggo, they said he'd lose his edge. As an upcoming father, do you think this will happen to you?
I think having a child will make me edgier than ever. I think all of
that anger's got to go somewhere.
I think I'm gonna
right on the kid.
No. Sorry.
I'm gonna be like a hot button comedian, but for comics after this. Like a regular Louis C.K.
Hell yeah. There you go.
I'm just kidding.
Alrighty, next question came from a friend of the show, previous guest, Rust Belt Review contributor Audra Stang. What are some of the challenges of being an editor that you didn't learn until you ventured away from making your own stuff? When do you know that you need to step in and make editorial choices, etc.?
Yeah, so I think a big thing for me is the general spirit of Rust Belt Review is I want to give people as much space as they want to develop their project. But then I discovered some people want a different relationship with their editor. And it's kind of been a learning process to kind of figure out exactly what works best for people. Everyone has a different form of that. I think some people really want a response about their work, and I think they're certainly entitled to it. And I think some people just kind of want to send me their pages and just have that relationship. So I think that I feel like there's definitely an art to it, and I have a long way to go to kind of master understanding what the needs of any particular contributor are in terms of editorial intervention.
Okay, Alex Knowles ask about the Timothy McVeigh idea in his head. Oh yeah, let's go.
All right, yeah, so I'm fascinated with just any kind of subculture in general. I'm a people watcher at heart. Anywhere I go, I'm always just kind of observing how groups are formed or how people react around one another. So be it the Small Press Expo or political groups, I kind of become fascinated with that. And so because of that, I was kind of fascinated with the mid to late 80s / 90s movement of white supremacists and neo-Nazis, because as a leftist,
hey, they're just libertarians, come on. They're just asking questions.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel in that realm, there's not a lot of perspective on what that movement was about, at least from the lens of a leftist. I think there's a lot of territory to explore in terms of understanding what people believe and why they believe it, and how that's important and how that can be destructive, but also how that's that's a powerful and meaningful thing. So when it comes to someone like Timothy McVeigh, who I think is an absolutely disgusting human being, I think there's a lot of unexplored territory for who he was and what he was involved with. And I don't think that's by accident. I think our culture doesn't want to confront white supremacy in a way that they would need to speak about Timothy McVeigh honestly. So that's something I'm sort of fascinated with right now.
So do you ever plan on making that into a book? I mean, he said it was an idea in your head. Do you ever plan on exploring that on the page?
Maybe, yeah.
After the kid's out of the house.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, I think, I think it would be an interesting project, but like there's a lot of reasons why maybe I wouldn't want to do that. So we'll see.
Well, I can tell you right now, just, as far as like being a quote unquote like mainstream type book, you've got something there. I think that would sell to libraries, bookstores, etc.
That's like kind
True
of
crime, baby. Make that money.
Exactly. I feel like if that book were to ever happen, that'd be the closest thing I'd ever have to like a mainstream appeal book.
Yeah. Which isn't bad. I mean, I think it would be an interesting story, and I know you'd pull it off. So
yeah, I think you just gotta know your audience with that stuff, and I think the audience for that, I gotta learn more about that audience.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, so I'm not gonna ask this last question because Caroline gave me some Pee Wee's Playhouse cards, and they asked your thoughts on them. So
they looked really cool.
Yeah.
Just ask whatever was nearest to them.
Yeah.
Tell me about
that water bottle.
Yeah. Alrighty, so before we get out of here with Sean, I just want to let you all know that we are doing a giveaway of his collected edition of Rust Belt from Secret Acres. All you need to do to be entered in this giveaway is purchase an issue of Rust Belt Review 3, use the promo code GUTTER, and we'll enter you in a drawing, and one lucky winner will receive a copy of Sean's book, Rust Belt, in the mail from us. Me and JB will even sign it for you. No, I'm just kidding.
All our hard work on that book. Fine.
No, but before we get out of here, Sean, Sean's one of those people, I say this about a lot of guests on the show, but we talk about having them on the show for a long time, so it's finally glad to, get you here.
Yeah.
Really excited to get this out there. Before we do get out of here, though, where can people find you online, get your books, etc.?
Sure. I mean, the only barrier to you finding me on the internet is spelling my name. So if you can go to Sean Knickerbocker on Instagram, it's just all one word, Sean Knickerbocker, SeanKnickerbocker. Probably just look at the podcast listing for my name there. But you can check out my Instagram, Sean Knickerbocker. I'm available at SeanKnickerbocker.com. You can also go to rustbeltreview.org and check me out there too.
Nice. And the last name is spelled exactly how it sounds.
Absolutely.
Yes, that makes it super easy, I think. Okay. Well, Sean, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks
again,
for having me.
Really, really awesome to finally have you on. We'll be reporting back on the next episode with another interview. Who do we have? We've got Blake, right?
These are going to be all out of order.
Oh, yeah. It's some random person at this fucking cabin. Yeah. I don't know.
The next episode, we will announce who wins the Rust Belt.
Yes, but the next episode, we will announce who wins a free copy of Rust Belt by Sean Knickerbocker. So I guess keep your ears and toes.
Open your hearts and wallets.
There you go. Yes, yes. All right, so we're going to keep getting drunk, I guess. Stay gutter.
The game of chess is like a sword fight.
From the Shaolin slum, and the ally from is coming through with enough niggas, enough guns. So if you wanna come sweating, stressing, contesting, you got your sharp swords in the midsection. Don't talk the talk if you can't walk the walk. Phony niggas that outline the chalk. I'm mad vexed, it's what the projects make me. Rebel to the grain, there's no way to barricade me. Steamroller niggas like an 18-wheeler with a drunk driver driving. There's no surviving. Rough like Timberland, where? Yeah, me and the clan and the Land Cruisers out there. Peace to all the crooks, all the niggas with bad looks. Head braids, blows us hook. We back home text, nickel play the Mac. Black axe, drug dealing styles and fat stacks.
Raw, I'ma give it to you with no trivia. We're like cocaine straight from Bolivia. My hip hop will rock and shock the nation. Like the Emancipation Proclamation. We MCs approach with slang.